Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Tuesday, it's November 22nd. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And before we get started, I wanted to just quickly remind everybody this is the Thanksgiving holiday coming up this week here in the U.S. So no trading on Thursday or Friday this week. Wednesday will probably be a slow day, so I may even leave early that day, but I will do a chart lesson if there's enough price action to do one. But it'll probably be quick and easy. You can already tell things have slowed down a little bit from the last couple of weeks. But anyway, just a reminder that no trading on Thursday or Friday. So last chart lesson this week will be on Wednesday. So if you're looking for one on Thursday or Friday, you don't see one, that's because I'll be on vacation enjoying the Thanksgiving holiday. But anyway, let's talk about today's trading. In the end, it's just a big trading range. You can see the overnight lows were right in here, overnight highs were here, and prices didn't get outside of that. That's a fairly large range though, so you got plenty of room in here you got a trend down and then a trend up. And you can clearly see a two-tiered channel working down. We overshot it here, bounced off the overnight lows, and then we trended back up to the highs, overshot there, and we've been working down ever since. We're still inside that channel working up, but it looks like we're trying to trade outside of it now. We'll see. But anyway, let's back out a little more. You can see the channel working down, and of course, you can see these channels within. We got a break of this one, a new low. You're working down here real tight when you got a close outside, new low. You're working up, close outside with two legs up. We could not make a new high and then turn down. That's a failed second entry long there. Um, and then we just kind of went sideways in here, so not much happening. I did like this low. It confirmed the trend line that I had drawn there. And if you caught that, you would have had a runner. You could have ridden this all the way down. Once we broke outside here, I would have been looking for a measured move, and I would have been definitely looking for maybe a bounce when we got to these lows. But you can see there's leg one, and you can see we basically had a perfect measured move. We maybe went one tick further there. So that would have been the way I would have tried to measure that. Get rid of that line. But let's back out, talk about the trades, and we'll go from there. When I came in, we were working down, and this is about a 50% move back here. And that's where you'll see a lot of your corrections. But we really, what we're looking at here is this move down, a close outside, and new low. We're pretty good ways away from the EMA. It's a little bit risky here. You do have a close outside, but a lot of times you'll get two legs down. But if you want to be aggressive, the odds are we're probably coming back to the EMA. We're probably coming back to test this high, and maybe coming back to test the breakout area up here, which is where we ended up coming, and we tested it 3 times before we went lower. So it's still a little aggressive. So I'm going to leave that one green. Normally I would have liked this entry here, but it's just right back into the EMA. We really don't have that's the first swing, 2 swings, so we really don't have a confirmation of a trend line or anything like that. So I think you're better off to wait on the reversal pattern. And that doesn't come till here. But that's a first entry as well. And we had an overshoot of this channel by then, so there's a chance we don't make a new high. There's not much room between that there and that high right there. So I think you need to wait. And then it does pull back and you get another chance here, but now you got a double top. There's a chance that we could go up and make that new high. Okay, sorry, I had an interruption there, but yeah, this one's really tempting here, and it would have worked if you used a stop on my chart right here. It would have been a 4-tick failure. It did test that line a couple times. It's possible you got out, but most likely not. And then it comes down and you would have got stopped out before it went higher again. So really, when you get a double top like that, in order to enter here, it's okay. as long as you got room to get out. So you'd have to use a limit order on my chart, and I don't think you would have got filled on a limit order. So if your chart was a little different, you might have been okay there, but I don't see that as being a good trade. If we're in an uptrend, I'd probably take that. I'd probably risk it. But going sideways like this, um, inside the overnight highs and lows, and you can see the EMA is really going sideways now. I'd be real leery of that one. Instead, I like the failed second entry long better and the double test of that high to go short, thinking that we're probably going to run another leg down like this. And I would have measured that and been looking for that. Once we started going lower, I would have put it here or over here. You can see we we actually found support a little sooner than that, and then went on down. Um, so, but that would have been my first target anyway, regardless. But yeah, I like that for the short. You probably wouldn't have got a runner out of this one because once it started coming back and going sideways, you're probably going to exit that one. So, and I do like going long here. By this time, you can see we're just kind of going sideways, and this looks like this is going to be a failed break lower. And notice what happens. It goes lower and turns. It goes up the other side. I'm going to take that one just because it's a failed break lower, and you're probably going to get a scalp, and it may go higher. You may come back up and test the highs again. We never, we hadn't been back up to test these highs. So, but instead, you really just get two legs up. There's a leg here and a little correction, then another leg. But this is a double test of this double top right here. So it's also really by this time your support or your resistance had dropped down. You can see that. So it's a little failed break higher, but but the biggest thing is it confirms that trend line. So I like going short there. Um, because that confirms that trend line, and so that means our channel is probably correct. And so you're hoping that you're going to ride this all the way down to the low side, and you do. This thing actually runs all the way down and keeps going. Notice how it gapped over there. It did back up and fill the gap, but that I see that all the time where there's trend lines and stuff. You'll get those gaps right there. This one didn't end up being a gap, but it closed on its low and opened on the next bar. So it still jumped over it, but then it backed up. And so there didn't end up being a gap there. But hopefully you understand what I'm pointing out there. And it runs all the way down, and it tests the lows from the previous overnight. Okay, sorry, I had another interruption there. The phone just keeps ringing. But yeah, I like this for a short. I made this one green simply because there's not a lot of room to get out before here. So if you want to take this one, you really need to let it break lower and then drop a limit order and let it come back. And it would have come back and filled you with enough room to get out before this low. Just barely would have made it. But you're probably better off to wait on a lower high. And look how it shoots right through the EMA, shoots below that support, pulls back, tests it a couple times. Notice this now. It comes up, tests it, turns down, comes back and tests it again. And then this bar, and then it moves down again, and then comes back up and tests it one more time, and then turns and breaks out. So I like this one. I would probably wait on the break of this bar, and then try a limit order. But really, you could let it break below this one and just put a stop there because that's a breakout pullback, a lower high. It's off that first two swings. That confirms that trend line. It is stacked up a little bit there, though, so that concerns me. But most likely, we're going lower, and this would be my target down here. And I showed you how we measured this other leg, and that would have put it right down in here as well. So. But if you caught this one, if you caught either one of those, you would have had a runner. And if you could just catch one runner on this, you got a pretty nice move. You might have exited when it went sideways, but I would have hung on to see if if it would have bounced here another time down here, I'd probably exit. But I'd probably hang on to see if we could catch this lower trend channel line here. So, and notice it is moving down. Notice how the closes are getting lower off following that midline there. And this was fairly easy to find early on. You could have had this channel um, early this morning. So you may not have known the actual, you may not have had the angle of it exactly right. You might have had to correct it, but you could have had that pretty early. So, but we continue going down, and you make a new low here, and this is just a little breakout pullback. And notice it tests, it comes back, it tests that breakout once, it tests it again. Um, you might have considered going short right here, and it probably would have been okay, except you just don't have a very good signal bar. It's going sideways. Um, but when you get that next attempt to go up that gives you the failed second entry long, this is, notice this high, and then your first entry, pull back second entry, and it makes a lower high. It's off the EMA. Look how bearish that bar is. You really could have gone short right there, one tick below that. But if you didn't, if you waited on this one, you could let it. It's a pretty big bar, but you still could use a stop. But I'd let it break below and maybe put a limit order a tick or two back. You probably wouldn't have got filled a tick back in it. You probably only would have got filled right at the low. But really, you should have entered up here. I like entering up here on that trap. That's definitely a trap. And look at it go. You can tell they trap people because it really takes off. And this thing just shoots all the way down to the bottom. Um, Notice how far away we are from the EMA, and you get that little, you had a perfect double bottom there, and you get that little failed break lower. I like that one for a possible. It's a little bit aggressive because you're trying to pick a bottom, and that's always dangerous. Um, but we've had the close outside and move to a new low, and then we got that little one tick trap. We're probably coming back there, and this looks to be an overshoot. You don't know that at this point. Maybe this channel's not right, but I feel pretty confident when it jumped over right there, it was right. And it comes back here, gives you a double bottom and test that again. So that's a double test of this level. So you might have even considered entering there, but that's a really big bar. I think you're better off to wait and see if you get another, you get your reversal pattern, which comes here. I would have liked to see it go through the EMA, but this is a double test of this double bottom, and so I like going long right there. We're probably going higher from that point. So, I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 tests of that low. And a market that can't go lower, where is it going? It's going higher. So, and we do have the break and the move to a new low. And if we were going to go lower, we should have pushed on down by now. So I like that one for a long. This is a double bottom, so this is a failed second entry short here. Notice if you count this as a new low, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. That's a fairly bullish bar too. And we're not back to the highs yet. I actually originally had this a little bit lower, right across there. And you still got room to get out there, so I like that one. And then you get a second entry long here. Notice the new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. And that's a little drop below there. It confirms your trend line. It's not a perfect signal bar, and then it didn't break above it on this one, so I was a little bit concerned about it. You still might want to take that one, though. We're not back to the upper trend line, even if we're going to turn down there. And notice what happens. You get a new low there, tries to go lower once, and then it tests that trend line. Look how bullish that bar is. There is a little bit of a congestion there, but notice how the closes are getting higher each time. So I like going long above that one. I probably would, I don't know if I'd go long. You could still go long with a stop, but I'd probably let that one break higher and drop a limit order, maybe a tick back in, just to try to get a little better entry. You do have to be concerned about this trend line because we could run up and touch it and turn down. But with that big of an overshoot, we're probably going to get at least that much of an overshoot over here. And it may not even, since we bounced off the overnight lows and we're headed higher, it's probably a range day and we're probably going to keep going higher. But you don't know that, so you got to still be a little bit careful there. But notice that's a new low. It's lower than that little double bottom there, and you get a first entry and then a second entry. This is basically almost a perfect repeat pattern of this right here. And you got that little pullback. There it is again. Just take it. It's a repeat pattern. And I mean, it's a perfect, I mean, it's almost, you could pull this off right here and overlay it here and it'd fit almost perfectly. So I like that one, and of course I got you into the 2 o'clock hour, so nothing after that point. But yeah, not a lot of trades today, but the ones that were here, there were some pretty nice moves. If you'd caught this one, you probably would have had a runner go all the way up. If you'd caught this one, you'd had a runner. The rest of them pretty much came back. Of course, you had some runners off of any of these three. So pretty nice day. I mean, you only needed to catch one or two of these and get one of the runners off of them, and you probably would have done pretty well. So, um, yeah, nice trading day. Again, don't forget, tomorrow will be our final day. We'll, because of the Thanksgiving holiday, so no chart lesson on Thursday or Friday this week. And but we'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get some movement tomorrow. You just never know going into these holidays. Sometimes the market movers will start their vacation early, a day or two, sometimes that whole week. So, and you can see it starting to slow down a little bit. Although you can't complain about a range day where you got this much movement in a day. Not a lot of trades, but still a lot of movement and the trades that were here were pretty good. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.